Okay, hi everyone. My name is Alcazar, and I am a postdoc at Northwestern University. And today I'd like to tell you about some ongoing work that we are doing in order to characterize the cycling of baryons in and out of galaxies using the Paris simulations. This is work that I'm doing with other collaborators that are listed here. So, very schematically here, galaxies can be that the stellar content in different channels. So first of all, we can consider, of course, the accretion of fresh gas directly from the intergalactic medium during star formation, but then a combination of stellar fusion processes can drive large-scale winds that can actually represent a significant mass loss, and they actually provide the metal enrichment of the intergalactic medium that is being observed. But perhaps some of that ejected gas can recycle back into the galaxy, providing gas for additional star formation in the central galaxy at different times. But of course, galaxy formation does not occur in isolation, so we have to also consider the mass growth due to mergers. So galaxy mergers can in principle contribute the stellar mass directly to the growth of this central galaxy. But not only that, we can also consider the ISM gas of this merging galaxy that can provide gas that can be later used by the central galaxy again to increase the stellar mass. But not only that, because of course other galaxies also can produce their own winds, and we may even consider that some of these gases emitted winds by other galaxies could perhaps be created by the central galaxy, perhaps also providing another different channel for galaxy growth. So this basic picture for the baryon cycle in galaxy evolution, which is supported by a variety of observations and also a range of theoretical models. Here, galactic winds potentially play a key role. Now, a particular set of simulations that are very interesting to look at these processes are the fire and cosmological tuning simulations, where fire stands for feedback in realistic environments. So these are very high resolution 2D simulations where both star formation and stellar feedback processes are modeled at the scales of giant molecular clouds. So these simulations provide an excellent framework to connect local processes in galaxies with local processes like galactic winds and cosmological inflows. So I cannot get here into any level of detail, but I would like to just mention that these simulations have been very successful at matching a range of observations, including the relation between the stellar mass and the neo mass in galaxies, and also the star formation in sequence, but also the mass metallicity relation, the neutral hydrogen column densities in high perceived galaxies, and also very important for this talk today, the combination of stellar feedback processes, including these simulations, are able to consistently drive powerful outflows, which have been traditionally difficult to achieve in cosmological simulations. So now, what can we do with this? Well, we can look at one galaxy at any given redshift, and then we can look at the stellar component and then trace those stars in time until we can find out what is the original source of gas that corresponds to that stellar mass. So here I'm showing the gray line here is showing the total stellar mass of Milky Way mass galaxy as it evolves, as it increases from early time down to redshift 0. And then the lines of different colors correspond to the total stellar mass that corresponds to each of these different components. So first of all, if we start at early time, we have that accretion of fresh gas as expected dominates the stellar mass growth of these galaxies at early times. But then very quickly, as soon as the star formation is efficient enough to drive powerful winds, then there is a lot of catalysts bringing back down to the galaxy. And the mass in the stars forming from this wind recycling component can actually dominate the stellar mass growth of this galaxy over a long period of time. So what about mergers? Well, here the red line is showing the total stellar mass contributed directly by mergers. And this is a nice example because these galaxies are undergoing a major merger at around redshift 2. So here you can see this sudden increase in the total stellar mass contributed by mergers, which is in this case providing about 10 to the 9 solar masses directly to stars. But also, as I mentioned previously, these merging galaxies also contributing a lot of ISM gas. So here the orange line is tracing the build-up in the stellar mass formed in situ in this central galaxy, but from gas that came originally from the ISM of this galaxy here. Okay, now very interestingly, by the time these mergers start to happen, then we identify this wind transfer component, which is shown here by the D line. So this corresponds to the build-up in stellar mass. So this is in situ star formation happening in the central galaxy, but from gas that has been transferred via galactic winds between other galaxies and the central galaxy. And it turns out that, as you can see here, by residue zero, this wind transfer component is providing a significant more mass compared to the mergers. So this here is essentially showing the same thing, but where we now normalize the stellar mass contribution for each process by the total stellar mass. That is just visually easier to make a comparison between different processes. So just summarizing quickly here, again, purple color here, fresh accretion really dominates early evolution, but then the blue color here, wind recycling dominates at some point. And then here you can see by residue 2, again, that major mergers can dominate the mass contribution to galaxies, but typically only during a short period of time right after each merger. And finally, we have the green color here, which is this new channel for galaxy growth, which is, again, quite interesting that the transfer of gas between galaxies can provide such a significant contribution to the stellar mass growth of galaxies. So now we can play the same game, but now using different galaxies, and in particular with different masses. So this plot here is showing the fraction of the stellar mass at redshift zero contributed by each of these the same processes, where we now show from left to right galaxies living in dark matter halos of increasing mass. So we start with black galaxy living in a dark matter halo of only 10 to the 10 solar masses, and then increasing up to a more massive galaxy, which is living in a 10 to the 13 solar mass halo. So very briefly here, you can see that for dwarf galaxies that evolve almost isolated, most of the stellar mass comes from non-externally processed gas. So there are no galaxies around to affect the evolution, so that fresh accretion and then their own recycling provides most of the growth. But then as soon as we grow in mass, we have here three galaxies, three Milky Way mass galaxies, where you start to see that, well, there is some already noticeable contribution from mergers, and then we have this, again, wind transfer contribution, which can be quite significant. And finally here, for a more massive galaxy, in this case, the contribution from mergers can be up to 30%, including both stellar mass created by mergers, but also ISM gas that is used by the central galaxy. So in this case, this actually comes from a series of major mergers happening below redshift of 0.5. So we can identify some interesting trends with halo mass. For example, it's very interesting to calculate the total amount of gas ejected in winds relative to the cumulative mass of gas converted into stars. So this is what we call the mass-volume factor. And we find this a strong trend with halo mass, such that low mass galaxies are much more efficient at ejecting gas relative to how much stellar mass they build. And the mass-volume factors can be as high as 100, part of 100. Here, the different symbols correspond to different galaxies, and different colors are placed in different redshifts. And this is, by the way, consistent with analysis that have been done using the same simulations by Muratov et al. By using a completely different technique. So now, tracking particles we are doing here, we can again quantify the amount of wind recycling, but in this case, I'm showing the fraction of the gas accretion rate onto the ISM of this central galaxy that is coming from wind recycling, and again, as a function of halo mass for the same color galaxies that we have, and again, for a few redshifts here. And we find this very strong trend where wind recycling represents a much higher contribution to the overall gas accretion rate for lower mass galaxies. And this is clearly connected with this strong trend in the mass-volume factors that I just showed. Now, moving on to this wind transfer component, we find almost the opposite trend. So in this case, dwarf galaxies, again, there are no galaxies around to contribute with the interactive winds to their growth. But nonetheless, as soon as we go up in galaxies, Milky Way mass galaxies, and typically living in higher density environments, they can get quite a few solar masses per year in gas transfer, from all the galaxies. So we can also do some fun calculations because in this simulation we can actually track the number of times that gas gets recycled. So in general we can have outflows, both gas being recycled back and then perhaps being ejected again, and this cycle can be repeated multiple times before the gas gets converted into stars. So we are showing here the cumulative stellar mass, the normalized cumulative stellar mass, as a function of the number of times that the gas has been recycled prior to being converted into stars. And this is shown here for, again, galaxies living in halos going from 10 to the 13 solar masses in red and then down to only 10 to the 10 solar masses. So we find that, again, recycling is quite common in galaxies of all masses, but actually low mass galaxies recycle gas a much larger number of times. This is again related to this very high mortality factor that we find. So here, just to quote a few numbers, we find that about 50% of the mass has been recycled more than either 1, 2, 3, and 6 times for galaxies living in dark matter halos or decreasing halo mass from 10 to the 13 solar masses down to 10 to the 10. So if we think about dwarf galaxies, most of the stellar mass comes from gas that has been going around for a while, quite a few times. So this can, of course, have some significant implications for the chemical evolution of galaxies that we are currently exploring. And this is just an example where we compute the average stellar metallicity. So we look at the stellar component that has zero, and we look at the average stellar metallicity as a function of the number of times that has been recycled, and again, for galaxies of different masses. So of course, first of all, comparing galaxies of different masses, we just see here the mass metallicity relation. So higher mass galaxies obviously have higher metallicity, but for all galaxies we see this systematic trend in which stars that form from gas that has cycled a higher number of times have a high probability of being enriched. So we have this increasing stellar metallicity with the number of recycling times. So I would like to now go back to this simple picture for the baryon cycle in galaxy evolution, but now I would like to add some approximate numbers here again to summarize the importance of the different processes, and in particular, this is for Milky Way mass galaxies. So first of all, we find that about 50, and this is referring to the stellar mass growth of galaxies. So we find that about 50% of the stellar mass comes from non-externally processed gas. So this part of the diagram corresponds to how much galaxies would grow on isolation. And 50%, about 40% correspond to fresh gas accretion, and the rest, the other 60% corresponds to wind recycling. So again, quite a significant and consistent, qualitatively consistent with previous work by other groups. Now the other 50% corresponds to externally processed gas. So this is gas that has been in contact or affected by the galaxies in some way. And from this, only 25% corresponds to galaxy mergers, and this is adding up both the stellar mass plus also the ISM gas from which further transformation can occur, and this very important contribution from intergalactic transfer, which is dominated by galactic winds, which can be up to 75% of this externally processed contribution. So this is my conclusions slide. We are undergoing a full particle tracking analysis of the 5 cosmological simulations in order to characterize the cycling of various in galaxy evolution. One highlight result so far is that recycling is very important for galaxy growth. We knew that already from the simulations, but also we find that the transfer of gas between galaxies via winds is quite significant. So really this exchange of mass between galaxies via winds can be quite significant. So we are currently exploring the implications of these different channels for galaxy growth, but also in terms of the chemical evolution, and also trying to find any important implications for the structural properties of galaxies as well, with the end goal of developing observational diagnostics for the baryon cycle. Thank you very much.
Wow. Okay, so we have several questions. We will have time for 3, sorry. And, let's start here.
Shall I begin? About this wind transfer component, do you know where the small galaxy lost that gas that it contributes to the big galaxy? Is it when it's already a satellite of the big galaxy, or does it happen in much larger distances?
Yeah, so it is difficult to tell, but something that we find is that a lot of these gas, the wind transfer, begins to be very important when actually mergers start to happen. So what we believe is happening is that galaxies eject a lot of gas that may remain perhaps in the halo of this merging galaxy, and then by the time the merger happens, perhaps even during the merger and well after the merger, then this gas that was in the halo of the other galaxy then cools down and then starts contributing to another galaxy. But I can imagine there are various possibilities.
In the Milky Way and more mass galaxies, there's a clear metallicity gradient in stars. Would multiple recycling of gas in your simulations remove the gradient?
Remove the gradient? Well, in this simulation, there is actually a metallicity gradient. And it's actually, that's open work by Shen Ma at Caltech. And it's one of these galaxies which can replicate very well the metallicity gradient in the Milky Way. So I think recycling is important, but that doesn't mean that the gradients will be removed. Yeah, but that's something that we can investigate in detail.
Okay, so now we have 2 questions.
In your simulations, is there a difference in the stellar gradient compared to the gas phase metallicity gradient?
There is some difference.
Yeah. Do you predict any difference? It would be really interesting to have.
Just any genetic difference between metal gradients in gas and stars.
Right.
So this is being currently investigated. I cannot report right now results of this.
Okay, the very last question.
I'm wondering what about the specific star formation rate versus stellar mass, because with so high recycling in low mass galaxies, I guess that you will have a very high specific star formation rate. So, and I'm curious with why the low mass galaxies are able to recycle all the time. The potential is very low. So in the large galaxies, at the contrary, the fall time is constant.
Right.
So
so there is an interesting competition between the potential will of the galaxy and then the velocity of the outflows as they move out. Now, what happened for the low mass galaxies is that the star formation histories are much faster and much more variable than higher mass galaxies. So in other words, even though the small galaxies are only building up stellar mass slowly, then they are doing that by cycling, ejecting gas, and then waiting until the gas recycles and come back. Then a little more star formation, but then outgoes again, and so on. So at the end, the gas that survives and in the galaxy so that it gets converted into stars, it has been recycled a larger number of times. But this is connected to this vast star formation history more prevalent in low mass galaxies.
Okay, so let's thank the speaker again.